Well, Martin and Simon were no doubt relaxing at home last night. I'm saying that without even knowing that. I was at the very posh Grosvenor House Hotel for the EFL Awards, which was a great night. 850 of the great and the good in the world of football were there, and it was extremely well presented by David Prutton, by Julian Warren, amongst others by Emma Saunders. And on the night, some of the big awards were kept to the end, one of them being Championship Manager of the Year. And of course, it's a 3 from 2 at the moment. Who's going to go up automatically? Will it be Ipswich? Will it be Leicester? Will it be Leeds? Well, Kieran Mckenna at Ipswich has worked miracles, and he was named Championship Manager of the Year. And quite rightly, when he spoke to me afterwards, Kieran was thrilled with the award.
Of course, there's great pride for myself, very importantly for my family as well, but also for the football club. You know, Manager of the Year reflects a team that's done really, really well, and a team that's done really, really well reflects the work of an awful lot of people at the club, staff, supporters, and everyone involved in helping this team get better. So, yeah, it's a proud feeling and proud to represent so many people.
In the introduction to you, Kieran, you were described as a man who's in charge of a side that has a never say die attitude. How have you managed it? How have you instilled this in them?
It's took time. It's 2.5 years hard work now, and it's a lot of different things. It's training, it's recruitment, it's relationships with players, it's spreading belief in the group, it's fitness, it's tactical, it's everything. You know, to be as competitive as we have been in such a tight and tough division, to be so competitive in so many games, and to come out on top in so many, and to be on 89 points already. It's a lot of work in a lot of different areas, and a lot still to go as well.
My colleague Mr. Jordan's intrigued as to just how well Ipswich have done. And you have done well. All of a sudden Ipswich, 1 foot back in the big time. I mean, are you dreaming of it? Can you, with so few games left?
I don't think we can, because it's still so tight up there. The level of the teams that we're competing against, the difficulty of the games, you can't look past the next game, honestly, because if you do, you'll fall very, very quickly. So no, honestly, our focus is so much in the present, getting ready for the next game. Of course, we know there's an amazing prize there as possible for 2 teams at the end of the season and 1 team through the playoffs, and we're just happy to be competing as we are, and we're going to compete our very, very best to the very end.
Kieran, what did you learn at United? Under Mourinho, and then under Solskjaer, and then even working a bit with Ranić. How valuable was that period?
It was so valuable. I had a long career as an academy coach and as a youth coach, but some big years there, stepping into first team football in the biggest club in the world. We're working with fantastic players, big managers, big atmosphere, big pressure, all those things, and you can't help but learn and be stronger in an environment like that. So I think it stood me in really good stead, I have to say. Stepping up as a manager from that environment felt like a really smooth process. Felt like I was prepared for everything that's come my way so far, and it's been a big part of getting me to this point.
And are you ready now to manage in the top flight, in the Premier League, the big boys league, the grown-ups league?
No, look, I'm managing a great football club in one of the most competitive divisions in world football, so that's where my focus is. I've got a lot of belief in myself and my ability and my staff and how we work, but I'm managing a fantastic football club in a really competitive division and enjoying it and giving it my full focus.
And Kieran, finally, it's 2 from 3 really, isn't it, in terms of the automatic placing?
I think Southampton might still...
Are you not having that?
No, I think look, it's so tight. I'm sure Russell will still believe that they're fighting for the points as well. So yeah, it's an incredibly tight division. I know we've drawn a couple of games this week, and other teams have lost or drawn games, but you've still got 4 teams up there, and 3 teams I think in 89 points at this stage of the season is incredible competition, and Southampton not too far behind as well. So it's been an incredibly high level, and to be part of that with 3 of the strongest teams really have come down from the Premier League in a while, possibly, that's a credit to the group.
That was Kieran Mckenna. I mean, Martin, I noticed you had a close listen to all of that. I mean, he's just taken everything in his stride, hasn't he?
Seemingly has. It's, what he's done there has been remarkable. And I think this particular season, because we know how difficult getting out of that championship is. It's a slog the whole way through. And you don't have that much time when the season kicks off. You don't have that much time to do a lot of training. It's just basically game midweek. And what he has done has been terrific, really terrific. I would have thought if they had, and I know it's Ipswich and who have a bit of history themselves, but if they had established themselves in the Championship this particular season, everybody would have thought that was great. But they've been there right from the get-go, and they have a chance of making automatic promotion, which would be magnificent for them.
I mean, he's very gracious about, in his answer about it being a 3-horse race for the 2 spots, Simon. He says, no, don't discount Southampton.
Well,
they're there, they're in there, they'll fight to the very end.
Well, he needs to be, doesn't he? Because they've not achieved anything yet in terms of getting out of the division, and they've got to focus on the fact that there are games that Leeds have and that Leicester have that can change the picture if Ipswich don't do their job. Ipswich have given themselves a wonderful opportunity. Leeds and Leicester have done their very level best to try and avoid getting promoted automatically in the last few weeks. And so it's a long way away. I mean, he's done really well. But what I do like about it, I think he's also got an invested ownership model. Even when you look at things like the way they produce their accounts, and I'll keep making this point, but when Ipswich produce their accounts, they produce them in such a way that everyone can understand them. They produce a calculation which shows everybody what profit and sustainability means, how they've done this and how they've done that. That shows a fit-for-purpose ownership model. Marcus Evans was a very successful man. I knew Marcus quite well. But Ipswich didn't have a great time under him. He had plenty of money, but Ipswich didn't have a great time. They've got new ownership that seems to be very invested in the way that the football club is run, have very good discipline. So when you see things like boring things like accounts being produced in a certain way, where there's no mystique, here's what profit and sustainability contains, here's what we take out and allow to have as an allowable adjustment. So everyone reads their accounts, go, oh, I understand how Ipswich managed to comply with financial fair play, how they're profitable, how they've got lots of headroom because their accounts say one thing, but their profit and sustainability information that goes to the league says another. I think that shows a forward-thinking and effective organisation, and then you start recruiting people underneath that have a similar mindset. And then if you've got people at the top that are motivated, invested, have good disciplines and have good thinking, then their thinking will land itself in their dugout, and then their dugout will think about it inside their playing squad, and then you'll have a healthy opportunity. Now, what you don't want it to do is turn to dust this season, because if you get what tends to happen often, the team that gets eclipsed in the race for the automatics finds themselves in a very difficult position in the playoff spots. And often the third team doesn't win the playoffs.
That's right.
So you've got to get the balance right.
Yeah. I mean, Martin, you've been there, worn the T-shirt. I mean, why are we seeing Leicester having a wobble? And not only them, but Leeds having a wobble. Archie Gray was brilliant last night at the awards. He picked up a couple of awards, Archie Gray. Well done to him. But they are having a wobble, both of these great ones.
I'm surprised at Leicester. At one stage, I think they were about 17 points clear. And if they don't make automatic promotion, then, as Simon mentioned, you're in then to a dogfight, and you don't necessarily come out of that. They're victors. So that would be a difficult one for them to take because of the lead that they had. So I don't know really what's happening there, but Leeds United could be the same, both sides, considering that they do have advantages over Ipswich in the sense that they've got the parachute money as well too. So a lot of those things you think too. Leeds United, a massively big club, and that would be a major disappointment if they didn't get up. But in terms of the wobble, Leicester mid-February would have thought been absolute certainty.
Good that they managed to achieve being a self-fulfilling prophecy on Friday, wasn't it? Managed to create a narrative around themselves that they were unhappy about this game in Plymouth and managed to go and lose it.
Yeah.
Their manager coming out and talking about the nature of their players' experiences. And yes, okay, it's not ideal, but then maybe you should have stayed up in the other part of the country and not travelled all the way back to Leicester to travel on to Plymouth. Maybe the logistics weren't well thought through. But they went to Plymouth against a side that's fourth from bottom in the table, that's struggling, and they got beat. And the language that was coming out of Leicester prior to that game was the manager talking about the adversity they were having to overcome. Remember the fact that the players are human beings, they're under pressure, and this travelling and so forth. And they duly went out and became a self-fulfilling prophecy and lost the game to Plymouth.
Yeah, I agree with Simon in that one. I don't think you should be making that point.
Wasn't the best timing,
really.
Was it?
It's not the best timing. You've just lost a midweek game, and you're travelling down, and I know that it doesn't. When the players are listening to the manager saying that, I don't think it's the best message in the world.
Yeah. Having said that, you're going to find out in the next couple of days just how focused Leicester and Leeds are. I spoke to Ethan Ampadu last night about the focus, and it's very much still there. To Kieran in Dewsbury Hall, spoke to him. You'll hear from him. The Leicester focus is still very much there. It is an intriguing run-in, Martin. What did you major on? You've been there in this situation with Leicester. What is the trick? Is there a trick to this?
No, well, I came into Leicester in around about Christmas time of 1995, and they were about 7th or 8th in the league, and at the time, so automatic promotion was never really a goer.
Right.
What I was doing was ruining their chances early on of getting up by losing some matches, which didn't actually go down all that brilliantly with the supporters. Luckily, we went on a little run and we won 4 or 5 consecutive games that took us into the playoffs. And strangely enough, this idea about momentum, you think about that. You think you do have momentum, and then you actually have to go and play the games. So our semi-finals were against Stoke City, not Stoke at the Britannia. It's actually at the old stadium, the Victoria, and we drew our first game 0-0 at Filbert Street, and I thought. And Kevin Poole, our goalkeeper, made a phenomenal save for us. Otherwise, we'd have been going there with a deficit. But we won the game at Stoke, went on to the final, and then ended up beating Crystal Palace.
We finished third.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.